Ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment you've been waiting for. It's a conversation that must be had today and not tomorrow. Welcome to another episode of I'm Listening, I'm Ready with your host, Andrew E. Guy. Let's talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Andrew E. Guy with a podcast that is dedicated for those who are on the go. Welcome to another episode of I'm Listening, I Am Ready. I am so excited about today, but I am always excited about something, all right? All right, let me put my eyes back in there, just starting to pop out and getting too excited here. This is Andrew Guy, and I'm so excited about today. I have an amazing guest. As always, we try to get the most amazing guests on our show, but the great thing about them is that the information that they're given, it is the impartation that they're given. I know that our listeners keep coming back because every week we are just what we call throwing it down. We are representing when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to information, when it comes to mental health and wellness and your financial health and wellness. It's about where you live, where you work, and where you play. So I'm going to stop the talking. I'm just going to get into it. I want to introduce you to a very good friend of mine, an amazing individual, a professional, a licensed psychologist from out there in LA, Los Angeles, and she is doing some amazing work out there. We'll get into the official bio later on, but I want to have her introduce herself to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Akilah Reynolds. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for having me. I'm Dr. Akilah, and I'm equally excited to be here with you. I am calling in from sunny Los Angeles.
Is it sunny over there right now?
It actually is. We actually have some sun right now, so I'm excited about that. The weather has been a little shaky, but today we have sun, and it's a beautiful day.
Now, is it good sun or is it, well, one of those, I'm baking sun? Can I just put a pie out there on the street and come back in 10 minutes and it's cooked?
You know what? It's not that hot. It's actually a beautiful day. So this would be the day that you want to relax, chill out on the balcony or something like that.
Oh, sweet. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Dr. Akilah, I am so glad that you're here. The information that I want to talk to these individuals about is just wellness, wellness. Started this concept about where you live, where you work, and where you play. It is basically my platform, helping people to create their greatest impact where they live, where they work, and where they play. Now, for the past couple of weeks, we've been talking to individuals in the financial industry, educational industry, and now we're looking about the health industry, and you are just the perfect guest. Now, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, how'd you get started? Why psychology? Because, when I reached out to you in LinkedIn, I told you that I'm interested in getting into psychology, right? And I really am. So, because I was going in towards the medical profession, I was studying for my MCAT and all that kind of stuff. So when I started thinking about even some of my clients and some of the stresses and struggles that they're having, I'm like, do I really want to get into that right there? So, and these are some of my clients. We have surgeons, I have some private practitioners and so forth, and we deal with anything from mental wellness. We talk about fitness and so forth, because my background is in anatomy and physiology. And so I have a few of them that I also train and coach. And I said, wow. And some of the things that they talk about is like, wow, I can't believe that. And I said, I'm going to venture more into psychology, because I think if we're well up here, we're going to be well everywhere else. And it doesn't matter what your profession, but that's what I decided to go into. So I'm going to be looking about that. So I'm going to be calling to get some advice from you. All right. So I'm going to be quiet. And Dr. Akilah, please tell us about yourself and what you do.
Absolutely. So I am a licensed psychologist in California. I am operating out of Los Angeles.
Yes.
I work at an academic medical center. So I work with inpatients who need some support in the hospital to take care of themselves. In addition to that, I will also work in a group private practice. It's called the Black Girl Doctor. And I do virtual therapy for professionals. So I really appreciate sort of the mix of people that I get to see.
Wow.
I also do a lot of webinars, a lot of trainings with the local university and a lot of companies all throughout California and also in other states. So that's kind of what I do, generally speaking, on an everyday basis. In addition to that, I started a wellness company with a colleague of mine. It's a research-based wellness organization that really focuses on Black women's mental health.
Wow.
And the idea of the strong Black woman. And so how oftentimes Black women are encouraged or socialized to be extremely strong. But in the research we were finding is that this was also related to a lot of mental health challenges like depression, anxiety, overeating. And so we created this organization to create some awareness about the research around some of the negative effects and the cost of it, to do our own research, then offer wellness or groups and wellness workshops for this population.
Wow. And how's it been going?
Amazing. So I actually have Mask Off is our retreat, and it's going to be virtual this year because of the pandemic. So it's a 3-day virtual event. It's completely free for Black women to come, and we talk about the wellness of the mind, body, and spirit.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, we also get into how to redefine strength in a way that is more healthy, that is healthier, essentially, and really inclusive of self-care and wellness. So that retreat it starts on October 9th, Friday. It's on Saturday and ends on Sunday. We have a lineup of amazing speakers. And if you're interested, you can, what's the best way for you to get free tickets? Essentially, if you go to our Instagram at sbw.selfcare, you can get free tickets there.
Awesome. And is the door still open for speakers, or speakers already been decided?
We already have our lineup of speakers for this year.
Well, next year, I'm going to make sure I put my name in the hat.
Please do.
Well, because, since I've been doing so many corporate training, I realized that when I started this new theme about where you live, work, and play is based on my upcoming book called Create Your Greatest Impact. And I realized that there is nothing as this, well, I go to work and then I come home and there is play. No, they're all interdependent. They're all interconnected. So a lot of people are saying, well, I am great at work. I have this big position. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. This is my work at. When I'm at work, I'm respected. When I come home, it could be a different thing. And then when I'm not busy working or trying to chase the kids around or trying to do grocery shopping or whatever the case may be, what's the rest of my life look like? And I have been doing some digging and realizing that a lot of people are drawing from that strength at work, hoping to survive at home. And then when they're at work, they're drawing from the strength at play. I said, no, this is not right. Where you live, where you work, and where you play, the work part is just your expertise, where you serve a particular niche in the marketplace. But where you live is that environment that's conducive to growth. And I said, what about the play part? The play part is self-care. And my background in anatomy and physiology, I realized, well, we need to put these together so we can create a greater impact. So I am excited about the conversation about we're going to talk about. When you're talking about wellness, I'm pumped. I'm going to try to stay calm. If I get too excited, I'm serious. If I get too excited, just raise your hand. You're in the room. You say, Andrew, please calm down. Okay, just call me out. I'm all right with that. Any challenges?
Any challenges?
Any challenges for you? Like, how did you get into psychology, and what interests you in it?
Yeah. So when I think about that, it might sound a little odd to some people, but I honestly feel like psychology chose me. Like I didn't grow up wanting to be a psychologist. It was like a thought that popped in my mind, but it was like a fleeting thought.
Yes.
And so I didn't have real aspirations or any plans or desires. When I got into college, I was really interested in business and marketing and entertainment and media. So I was kind of more so focused on those kind of things.
Yes.
But I guess, a part of my story is that I did a lot of internships for business, and I thought I might get like an MBA or something. But as I was doing the internships, I was kind of bored. Or it didn't fit with me. And I'm very much of an intuitive person that I get a feeling, and I kind of just know. It's a knowingness that I have, like a spirit connection, that when I'm doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, I feel connected to it.
Right.
And so I would disconnected from some of the business work that I was doing. And so I just like really just took a psychology course, and I was interested and I liked it. And I began to really think about what I wanted for my life. And so I felt like psychology was the thing that would allow me to really help people, to really make a difference. And I think, truthfully speaking, the reason why I think a part of it is that it chose me, is that I needed to do some personal work for myself.
Right.
And psychology was sort of the avenue, or the avenue, the vehicle to do that. There's no way that you can get into this field without you yourself changing emotionally first. And so because I have been able to do that, my own emotional work, and I've learned a lot in my journey and my process, I think it's just opened up so many possibilities for my own life and for the people around me.
I love it. You know, I have been doing some soul searching myself too. And a lot of times, I love what you say, because you're saying that psychology chose you. A lot of times we're busy choosing. We're busy going for the dream. We're busy trying to figure out what's the next best thing, or where do I fit in all of this. And a lot of times we don't really stop and think about the P word. And the P word is really purpose. Like, what is my purpose here? What was I created to do? These are questions that we should be asking ourselves every single day. And when I think about, being a doctor, working in the operation room, or should I say the ER, because that was my thing. I'm an athlete. I've come from a martial art background. So I see myself go in and just doing my thing and just being excited, being pumped. And a couple of my clients said, you know what, Andrew, you would be amazing at this. You'll be great at this. And I thought about it, and they said, but for the first 4 or 5 years, you're going to be doing graveyard, because all the older doctors, they don't want to work those shift anymore. So as soon as a new doctor comes on, they kind of shovel them on. Exactly. But the thing is that they said it's going to be hard work. No problem. I'm a hard worker. But I start thinking about the purpose. Yes, I will be doing something that's exciting, but in the long run, who gets the credit? Who gets the glory, in other words, right? I am from a faith-based background, but I don't go off and say, hey, I subscribe to this particular religion or so forth, because I think in today's age, a lot of people, they hang that religious label on their shoulder and say, well, I'm not really this, I'm really that. But what it does is kind of separate individuals, right? And it kind of ends the conversation. No, I can't speak to you if I'm not such and such, if you don't come from this particular dimension. So I said, no, let's just talk. Do you believe? Are you a faith person, a person of faith? Then that's it. That's where the conversation starts. But when I think about, just in general, understanding your purpose basically is not really yours. It's the role that you play. It's the function that you have when you are going to take what you know, your skill set, to help someone else to discover who they are. So when we talk about purpose, when did it become clear to you that this was really part of your destiny, become a psychologist?
I think it's still unfolding, and it has unfolded over time. I can say that when I was first making the decision, I felt like I wanted to do a bunch of different things, but I felt this was the thing that really opened up the possibilities for me. And as I get deeper into it, and I have more interactions with people, and I'm doing more, I start to feel this sense of excitement, joy, and peace around what I'm doing. And that's when I know. So, talking to you, or when I'm doing different speaking engagements where I'm bringing what I've learned from my field, from science, and able to communicate that to audiences who otherwise might not have access to it. That's when I feel so excited. That's when I feel like I'm at my best. And so I feel like, especially in the last year or so, I've really activated that purpose, and I've really been walking more into it. And I feel like it's a journey that I'm constantly like I'm finding my way, or I'm just walking in the pathway that is lit for me.
Yes.
And when I am walking in that pathway, I know. And there are times where I'm operating as a psychologist,
Right.
but I don't feel like I'm enacting my purpose. And so, I feel like I'm doing a good thing and I'm helping people, but I know, like, when I'm actually doing the thing that I am made for, that God put like these ingredients inside of me that only I can do. It's these experiences where I'm connecting with people, where my story connects with people, and where really it's about opening access to something that's truly amazing, life-changing, like mental health and wellness.
Correct.
And people are being able to access that in a different way that they never have been able to before.
Wow. I love the way you say that. Access is the key. But before I even talk about access, I want to go back to something that you said earlier on, like purpose is calling you. I often tell people when I do speaking engagements and so forth, I said, purpose is not behind you. Purpose is ahead of you, and it's calling you. It said, come, I am here. It's already completed, but you have to develop yourself to get to it. It said you have all the ingredients on the inside of you to attain the goal, but you become that individual as you keep moving. It's just like muscles, the anatomy and physiology. The more I use a muscle, the more I exercise the muscle, it gets stronger, it gets bigger, and it's now able to help me maneuver to all the different nuances that I have to go through. So you have to go through this process. The purpose is about really going through the process to not only discover what you're supposed to do, but to discover who you are. Because a lot of people change and they start to live for the crowd instead of understanding and being true to that purpose that's inside of them. When we talk about purpose, really, has there ever been a time where you felt like, is this really for me? Or did I choose the right field? Have you ever gotten that?
So many times. So many times. It's a hard and it's a long journey to be a
Right.
psychologist. I've spent about 11 years in training and higher training after, high school, just to be able to kind of get to this point. And so there are
Right.
so many times along the way where I just was like, this isn't right. This doesn't make sense. Why did I do this? I have so much student loan debt. I lost out all of the best years of my life.
Yes.
I'm so busy. I'm so stressed.
Yes.
So I definitely have felt like that. And honestly, not too long ago, I can say that probably like as soon and as recent as like maybe 8 to 12 months ago, I felt like I had some regrets around why did I choose this path? Like, you know what I mean? I thought this was the right path for me, but I'm not feeling connected to the work that I was doing. This is before I started to do all the work that I described to you now.
Right.
I felt like I don't like it. I'm not really enjoying it, and I'm not really finding purpose. Before, not the job that I'm in now, but it was a previous job that I was at right after, graduating and finishing things up. And I would go to work in a basement and I would feel just so isolated, and I would feel, I felt kind of numb, just like I was just going through the motions, that I was not connected to this work. And I started to think that like maybe I had made the wrong decision with my life. I can say though, on this side of it, in the last 6 to 7, 8 months, I could see like a complete change in my life. Like I'm busier now, and sometimes there's some stress going on, but I'm happier now. I feel connected to life, to people that I'm serving, and also the people that I work with. And now I'm so happy that I stayed the course. I'm so happy that I chose this and that I kept choosing it, and that I didn't sort of turn the other way, because now I see why I did this and why I'm doing this. And I'm feeling that calling and that connection. So it's such a stronger calling and connection I have.
I love it. And I think you said that, there's a stronger calling. I like to tell people, I said, you know what, the closer you get to the destiny, it's almost like being at the epicenter of an earthquake. You feel it. And not only do you feel it, but there's something that keeps pulling you. There's something that keeps on saying, yes, you're getting closer. You're getting closer. Keep on moving forward. I think sometimes, and I know this happened for many individuals too, even for myself, when I was doing my undergrad in biology, and I was thinking about medical school, and I sat down, spent hours studying MCAT books, reading these books. The books were bigger than I could even carry. Do you hear what I'm saying? I'm, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, why am I doing this? And it's the why question that we really need to ask ourselves more time, that help us to let us know this is the reason. But I think what we miss is that we keep seeing ourselves instead of the people that we're called to serve. And I like to use this example. I said a lot of people don't understand that there's a Moses in all of us. When he was going through the desert, I promise you, it wasn't a bed of roses. People were mad at him. People were cursing him. He even got to the point where he said, God, listen, these people are about to stone me. I hate this, right? But the thing is that purpose will cause you to become uncomfortable when you want to be comfort. And I think that that's what purpose is about. And when we talk about finding your pathway to personal success, because this is the series that we're doing right now, a lot of young people think that it's going to be, comfortable. I'm going to get a chance to go to bed when I want to go to bed. I want to be able to talk to the friends. I want to be able to. Purpose chooses you. Can you speak on that? Purpose choosing you instead of you choosing it. I know you mentioned that briefly, but help me to break that down to young people and young Black girls, young Black ladies who are listening to this, who are watching this, and they're trying to figure, okay, fine, I'm going through something right now. I'm doing this, but it's not resonating right now. I don't want to go through the troubles. I just want to get the success.
Sure. I think so one of the things that becomes really important is doing like the hard work and meaning like doing the internal work. So knowing what you're interested in, knowing what you're skillful at, knowing whatever naturally you're gravitate or pulled to, you kind of want to use that to help you go through the direction of your purpose. I believe that every person on this earth is sort of is born and they have talents and skills that only they have, and they something on their lives that no other person on this earth can do, even if it's similar. It's not the same. You didn't do it. And so there's a psychologist here, but there's none like me, and I would say the same thing about any friend. There are certain things we're here to do. So when you're trying to find your purpose, and I think that I had to do this work, it's not always apparent. It's not always very clear, but I think people have ideas around what they're good at. They have ideas around what comes naturally to them. Right. I encourage everyone to explore those ideas. One thing I did was I was a huge explorer of things, but I'm also kind of really internally attuned oftentimes. And I sometimes it's hard for me to describe it because for me, it's like it's just a knowing that I have in my spirit. And sometimes I think you have to be attuned to that. And I don't always follow it, but I think that if your mind, body, spirit, if all those things are connected, then you kind of know, you get a sensation in your body and your mind and your heart when you're doing what you're supposed to do. And I say, then keep doing that. And as you keep taking those steps, you will know. Now, along the way, there's going to be some difficulties. Correct. And so sometimes that's hard because it can be extremely discouraging. And I think that's where discipline comes in. Yes. Once you know what your purpose is, what your goal, your calling, or what you're here to do, then you have to have the discipline to be able to see it through, even when it doesn't feel good to you. I can tell you in the 11 years that I was in school and the 2 years after, so the whole 13 years that I was training, there were plenty of times where I did not like what I was doing. I did not want to do the things that I had to do to get to where I am now. But I had a vision of where I was going, and it wasn't completely laid out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think God, or, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, you'll have a vision of what it is, even if it's not extremely plain, and the pathway to get may not extremely be so clear. But if you know. So my suggestion would be, and also, like, I think you ask people, like I would ask my friends, like, what do you think about this? Right. And they would tell me things that they thought about how they thought I could be a psychologist. And it was the things that I was afraid to say, but that I had known in my heart. And so, I think you got to do some heart checks. You have to ask the people that know and love you, that are surrounding you. And then just think about what you're good at. I think when you're in school, you kind of know what naturally comes to
Correct.
you.
Yes.
Attention to that. I was not good at math. I was not good at science. And I mean, I could get good grades, but it was like, why stress myself to do something that I'm not naturally going to do?
Right.
Now, might be some times where things are hard for you, but you work really hard and you could get it. So I'm not saying discouraging people who struggle in a certain
Correct.
subject. You have to kind of know yourself and know where you're going.
Okay. I love what you said. You said know yourself. Do you think just society on a whole spend more time in the crowd as opposed to being in the mirror?
That's funny. And in some ways, I think we're often in the mirrors, but I think not in the soul searching way. I think we're in the mirror in order to reflect the crowd.
Wow, love it.
And I think that was a part of my journey too. I think in a lot of things, we're expected to follow the crowd or expected to be a certain thing. So for example, even in the psychology realm, I always struggled in my programs because I felt like they were trying to make me into this cookie cutter psychologist that kind of ivory tower, and that was never who I was.
Right.
And a part of the struggle was that I felt like this way that I'm being trained to be is a bit incongruent with who I am naturally. It doesn't mean I shouldn't be a psychologist, but it means there's no way that I can be a psychologist in this particular way because it just doesn't fit for me.
Right.
I think that can happen on so many other levels. And I myself have struggled with trying to be the thing that I saw maybe on TV or that I saw other women being or having or doing. And it really erodes your spirit when you're so constantly trying to fit in, and not really truly honoring who you are. So now, I try to honor my spirit whenever I walk into a room, whenever I even take a job. And I have to be intentional about this piece. I think for a while I would walk into jobs and interviews and I would be who I thought they wanted me to be. And then once I would get there, I'd be mad at them for not accepting me when I was never who I was.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You said be and become. And I want to emphasize that for our viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to me for the first time, if you're just joining us, this is Andrew E. Guy with ILIR-PODCAST. I'm listening and I'm ready. And I'm talking to a friend of mine, very well-studied, well-learned individual, Dr. Reynolds. And Dr. Reynolds is out there in Los Angeles, and we're just getting some information to help you, our viewers, our young ladies, black ladies, whatever color you are, just to help individuals to get them on the next path, to get them to understand being and be. The be part is just the copy. I see something, it looks attractive, everyone is doing it, it's popular, everyone's talking about it. Why not? Why not? I can be that. But what I often stress is that become part, because become is a process. Be, I can just be that. And a lot of people believe that you can get the success that another person has by just being that. I can just be that. I can be the rapper. I can be the basketball. And that's why when I ask individual, when I go speaking at the schools and universities and stuff, I said, let me ask you a question. What do you want to do? I want to be. I said, oh, you want the letter B, or do you want to make honey bee? I said, it's better to be the honey bee because there's a process to making the honey that people are going to consume. But if you just want a B letter, anyone can pick that up. You can type that. It's ready-made. The B part of things, I use it as a way to make it comical so they don't feel like I'm picking on them. I said the B part of things is going to create honey, which is sweet to the taste. And when someone consumes that, they're going to be like, wow, you must have gone through a lot of trouble just to make this honey for me. It's the same thing about us understanding purpose. Let's take the honey route. You know, there is no taste to you if you just copy somebody else. And taste meaning your personality, your strengths, you know, all the things that you've been through, your life stories. Because when you start to talk, these are what's going to, you know, there's a phrase in the Bible that said they're overcome by the word of their testimony. So people don't want to know what you have anymore. Nowadays, individuals, they want to, what have you been through?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your story, because I know that if you made it, then I guess what? I have a chance. And so that's what we're talking about. How to be authentic, the authentic you, that when you are reflected to the world, whether it be on Facebook or social media, and they see you, is there more to your picture than what they're seeing? And so I am excited about this conversation that we're having. Is there a time when you felt that the purpose was too much for you, or the calling of psychology was too much? It was too big. Like, who am I?
That's a good question. There was a time where I felt confused around becoming a psychologist. And so I don't know that I felt like the purpose was too much for me, but I think I felt like when I didn't feel like it was my purpose, when I felt like I'm doing this, when I was disconnected from it, I felt like, why? I just, it was so overwhelming sometimes to get to this point that I did feel, I guess, but I don't think that it was because I was thinking about it as my purpose, though. I think I was thinking about it as something that I couldn't do, or that was too much for me. So I do believe it is my purpose. I think at that time I wasn't thinking it was my purpose, or I was losing sight of that. And so I felt like, man, like maybe I bit off more than I could chew. Maybe I am not meant to be here. Maybe, you know what I mean? The first year that I was in grad school, or not in grad school, the first year I was in my PhD program, almost every day I woke up trying to figure out how I could get myself out of this program without ruining my life. Wow. And because I couldn't come up with a solid plan, I just kept going. And then eventually I decided for myself, like, I think after about 6 months of that, I said, you can't keep living like this. You know what I mean? So I had to find something inside of me. Like, I had to make the best out of what I was going through. And that kind of helped me take a more active role in my life. And I think that that's one of the important keys to your purpose, your calling, and also just to emotional and mental health, is taking an active role in your own life.
Wow, love it. What's the ratio of Black women going into psychology?
I believe the percent of Black psychologists overall is 4%. Of all the psychologists are Black. And so, you know, my guess with that, it may be more Black women psychologists than there are Black men psychologists. I don't know the exact numbers. If I were to guess, and please don't quote me on this, I think maybe of that, probably 3% are Black women and maybe 1% are Black men. And I don't have any real science to go off that. It's just my personal data from who I know. Correct.
Earlier on, you mentioned that, you know, one of your focuses really to help Black women that are either struggling or going through this shift in their mind and dealing with hurts and certain setbacks. And so is that primarily your clientele that you serve?
When I'm working at the hospital, I serve a range of people. A lot of them are people of color, not necessarily Black women though. When I'm in my virtual practice, I see a lot of Black women, and I would say that's predominantly who I see in individual therapy right now. A lot of professional Black women who are brilliant, and who just need a little bit of support for improving their lives, who are have some challenges going on, and having that space for them to just pause, to not be super mom, to not be superhuman, to not be so strong, to really be vulnerable and to discuss some difficult experiences that they've had. They really find that space to be valuable, and I think it really enhances their emotional well-being.
And what would you have? What advice would you have for a Black woman? Now, we spoke about this earlier on, but I think that they're expected to, they're just cliche, or should I say a stereotype. You're supposed to be strong, and wherever you look, there's a Black fist or something that represents the Black culture of strength and power and overcomer and all of these fantastic words. But the process of becoming, of embodying this strength, so to speak, it's a process and it's a long ordeal. But I think more time it's overrated, because behind this strong woman or this strong Black man is a lot of issues that are probably not resolved, past hurts, present hurts, and those affect future successes and how we get to our destiny. And it invades and it erodes from who we are as individuals. And so we try to cling to tradition, so to speak, so we can make it through. Well, I don't have a good sense of myself because I'm not strong as the, I guess, the profile that people are expecting me to be. So now let me hang on to something that mama did or daddy did or how they lived their lives. So now we're stuck in tradition and we can't really find out who we are, and then we miss purpose. Everything gets eroded. And so now we're now faced with, what do I do? So what do you say to those women who are trying to live up to the hype of, oh, you're a strong Black woman, strength, so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, well, I would encourage them to really consider the costs.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
I think for Black people, and in particular for Black women, is that it's overutilized. It's kind of like the thing that we always go to, and I'm not faulting, Black women or Black people. I think that we were sort of, it's a survival skill that we've learned
I love it.
To utilize in order to make it
Yes.
through oppressive society. So it makes sense. The issue is that it does not make sense to use it all the time. So the way that I like to think about it is, if you experience some sort of trauma, then you may need to do some sort of survival skill, for example. So if I'm, if there's a stressful situation, if I'm going to be attacked by something, then I need to have my blood, pumped to the parts of my body that are going to keep me aware. I need my eyes like this. I need to be able to kind of like focus in on that really difficult thing. But I can't be like that all the time. And I for sure should not be like that when there's no longer a stress going on. So if Black people or Black women are enacting strength during a particular time that they need that, fine. I'm here to tell you not to do that. But I think what happens is that we disallow ourselves to be vulnerable all the time, or most of the time. We disallow ourselves really to be human. I think what happens is that strength undergirds our humanity. And if we're human, then we're not going to be strong all the time. If we're human, we're going to experience the range of human emotions. And I believe that each of us should honor our humanity by experiencing the range of human emotions, and also experiencing support from other people, also being able to lay down our strengths, to be vulnerable and to share what we're going through, and to say, hey, I can't take all of this because all of this is too much.
I just love it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to me for the first time, this is Andrew E. Guy. You're listening to ILIR-PODCAST. I'm listening. I'm ready. And I hope you're listening. I hope you got a pen and a pencil. I hope you're taking notes, because I am sitting and I'm talking and I'm getting so much information. I'm right now a sponge, and I'm soaking up all of this great knowledge from our good friend out there in Los Angeles, Dr. Akilah. I'm telling you, the information that she's downloading right now, I need a bigger hard drive. Do you understand what I'm saying? I am so excited. We're speaking about strengths of Black women and how to help them to understand that it's not even about trying to pretend that you're always strong. What she's saying is that you want to embrace that humanity, because we're not always going to be strong. There's going to be days when we have to stop and put down the shield and just say, hey, I need to just stop and take a break. So if that's you, I hope that you're listening, and I hope that you're ready. So Dr. Akilah, we're talking about Black women. I come from a Jamaican background, and my mom has been through quite an ordeal. And when I go to speak, and people are always asking me, so Andrew, how are you able to connect with the youth so well? I mean, by the time you finish, they're all surrounding you, asking you for autograph pieces of paper. I said, well, it's about your story. And we talked about this before. A lot of people are talking about the be instead of the become. And I say that to say this because when mom had me, it was a difficult process. I almost never made it here because the hospital was quite of a distance. And by the time she knew that I was coming into the world, I came in a taxi.
Wow.
There I was in a taxi, didn't make it to the hospital. And then one of the nurse came from the hospital, came down to the road to meet the taxi and said, hey, well, listen, if you don't have this baby right now, you're going to lose it. And I'm the guy in the taxi. And so I tell these individuals, I said, the process that I have been through, I said, it has not been easy. I said, there are times where I couldn't even read. I was frustrated. And I said, I couldn't read until I was like 14 years old. And it was like, what? You please, no. And I said, that's what it's about. So it helped me to become vulnerable. Yes, I'm this author, I'm this speaker, I'm this podcaster, and I'm this father and husband. I'm doing all these different things. So I'm expected to be strong because I am a black man, right? And I said, there are times where it's not about the label that we put on ourselves. We need to understand that we need to embrace that vulnerability so people can walk in our shoes and know that it is okay to be hurt sometimes, and should I say be injured sometimes, and still survive the injury. So what I want to talk about right now, I want to kind of switch the topic a little bit, because I know we talked about your journey, but did you have a mentor or anything along the way? Was there a mentor that just kind of, made this all possible for you?
I feel like I've had a few mentors along the way. Like I've met some really incredible supervisors in a lot of different capacities, and advisors to me that have been instrumental at very difficult times, and also not so difficult times, but just times that I was really um, open to being molded. So there are just a couple of people that I can think of along my journey. Like in New York, I had a professor who I felt like really saw me. At that point, I was at Columbia in a master's program, pretty quiet, pretty shy. I was trying to, to learn my voice or to get my
Right,
voice.
right.
And Dr. Smith is the professor there, and I was on her research team. And for some reason, she put me in the ranks to speak at my commencement ceremony.
Oh,
And
wow.
if anyone who knows me, like when I was a child growing up, me speaking in front of people, like not Akilah, like I could not do it. I didn't have a label at that time, but now if I think about it, I would probably describe myself as pretty socially anxious,
Yeah.
especially as a child.
Wow.
Just anxious in general, but very socially anxious, to the point where we'd have speech contests every year. And like leading up to that, I would be so nervous and afraid to speak in front of crowds. And so for her to see me in that particular way, it was something that I had always wanted to do my entire life. Like I spent my life trying to be able to speak in public because it was always so hard for me.
Wow.
So she was someone that saw me and that pushed, put my name in the hat, and then I just kind of went for it. And here I am speaking in front of my commencement with 1,000 people. And like, I don't even know how I did it,
You made it.
I made it. It was crazy, and it was exciting, and it was a big moment for me because it was like my lifelong dream to be able to talk in front of people like that. And then I've had other people along the way who just really saw me. Dr. Chibueze, she's a supervisor I had in Houston. She gave me one of my first practicum training sites there. Probably one of the younger students who were able to get into that training site. And she really just, I felt like, helped develop my skills in this profession. She was a Black woman that I could really look up to at the time. She was relatively young in my eyes to be where she was at. And along the way, like she's just, if I need her, I could call her right now. And just being able to see her do well in the setting that she was at, but also have her own business and just be a well-rounded person.
Right.
And so I've had a lot of key figures in that life, in my life along that way, that really helped propel me to where I am today.
Okay. Now, at this particular time in your life and point in your life, do you consider yourself a success?
Um,
It's a
I
tricky
guess,
question.
yeah, I don't know that I always stop to really think about it like that.
Right.
I celebrate my feats along the way. I think
Right.
because I have so much more that I want for myself that
Right.
I don't know. Like, I mean, my dreams are so big and so real. But I would say that I'm extremely grateful to God for the place that I'm at right now. And
Yes.
I feel like to be where I'm at and to have done the things that I've been able to do, I do feel honored and blessed to be where I am right now. So I
How would
guess
you
to some,
define it? How would you define success?
it's a good
And this
question.
particular is for those individuals that are watching and they're wondering. They see a doctor, a black doctor, so to speak, a female black doctor, a strong black woman, right? Who is not just standing behind the cliche or the stereotype of strong, but I've gone through the process and is still going through the process and is now coming back to say, hey, listen, you got to embrace the entire process and be human and be vulnerable. Embrace all of it instead of standing behind the label. So from a success perspective now, what advice would you give to our young ladies in terms of how to define success? Because some of them, they're going on Google to look up success and it's not happening.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I even had to learn this because for me, I think I had to, I would think of success as like I have the things
Right.
that would define success, like the material things.
Correct.
And had to, and continuing to do some more soul searching about what I want my life to be like wholeheartedly. A calm mind, a calm spirit. To me, that's success. Feeling connected with my purpose and with God and with the people around me. For me, that's success, and feeling a sense of really contentment with where I am. So for my advice to anyone, who's looking for it or is open to it,
Yes.
I would say is to be authentic, to be genuine and to be honestly who you are. For me, that's success, whatever that means to you.
I absolutely love that. I tell people all the time, I say, listen, success, if you're looking for success, the first person you should find success for is in you. I said, don't be another individual. A great speaker and author from NASA Bahamas says, he said, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. But I said, if you don't know who you are, any identity will do. I was given this talk at a college before, and I told the guys, I said, listen, let's say, for example, you take 20 years to be, I didn't say become, to be someone else. Took you 20 years. And I used the Michael Jackson impersonators as an example. I said, man, they can dance, they can kick the leg, they got it, and they got the, they got everything down pat. They got this, they feel it. I mean, they are bad. They even better than MJ himself. That's how much they've got it. I said, they did that for 20 years. But let's say, for example, one of those personators were out of college, like I'm doing right now, doing a talk, and one of the individuals come up to them, the students come up and say, hey, how long have you been doing this? You are great at this. Wonderful. Love it. 20 years. You're good. Is this what you've always wanted to do? And then the impersonator would say, well, I just kind of stumble upon it. So if you took 20 years to be someone else, and let's say, for example, you were at the concert or you're at this, whatever you're doing, performance event, and then someone asks you that question, and then somehow the bulb go on, and you realize that is not you, you're going to have to take 20 more years to go back to find yourself. And by the time you get there, it's not 40 years. So 40 years have been spent on be somebody instead of becoming. I want to encourage you, if you're watching me today, if you listen to Dr. Akilah, please find you first. There is no other you coming back when you are gone. When the lights are gone, when social media is no longer sociable, it's just you. So find you first and be the authentic you. Don't take 20 years to be somebody else. Become you, your best self. So at the end of the day, you can look in the mirror instead of staring out the window and know that you've given life your best shot. All right? Now, that sounded like I went on a tantrum a while ago, but it is disappointing to see young people, they change with the fashion like a fad. I'm going to wear this now. I'm wearing skinny jeans. I'm putting on jeans that I can't even get my big toe in. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just like, how do I do that? It's not comfortable to wear regular pants anymore. I need to have them skinny. I take 2 days to put them on. But Dr. Akilah, I wanted to touch on a few questions, and then after we're going to move on into our Think Fire Shoot. And what I wanted to ask is simply this: what was a game changer for you? What was a game changer for you? When did just like, boom, this is it? Yes, we've talked about the struggles, and yes, we've given the advice to our young ladies and our young Black women. What was a game changer for you? This is it, and I'm going with it, and I'm not turning back. What was a game changer?
I would have to say that I've recently had my game changer. Like
congratulations! Yay!
Like in the last, I would say even like since this summer.
Nice.
I have, I ended one job, I started 2 new jobs, and I really began to kind of do more speaking and more consulting, just doing a lot more.
Right.
And I've been finding so much joy and so much contentment with my life, having done that, even how busy I am. And the last, I would say this past summer up until now, I've had some of the most stressful times of my life. And yet I have been able to kind of persevere through those and find joy in the work that I've been doing. And this work has been so soul fulfilling for me personally. And I hope, for other people who I come in contact with. And so this has been my game changer, that like, how I was living life before, particularly how I was being a psychologist before, that wasn't working for me. And it was like, this was the place that I always knew I should be. And this for me is the direction that I should be moving in. And I'm reminded of that like weekly, the more opportunities that come my way, and just the feeling that I have in my heart that like, no matter how busy I get and sometimes how stressful it can be, like once I'm doing the thing, whatever that thing is, I'm like, this is it. Like, thank God I finally I'm arriving and I'm moving forward. It feels really good.
I love it. I am learning so much, because I want to get into the field of psychology too. And I'm learning so much. So please keep your phone. Because I'll be one of those individuals that'll be calling for some advice about what do you think about so-and-so. But in terms of this interview, I want to ask a few more questions, and after we're going to move on.
Okay.
Knowing what you know now compared to what you knew then, what would be the best advice, your top 2 advice that you would give to Black women or people of color who think that it's difficult to attain a certain dream because it's not predominantly what we normally do? It doesn't fit the status quo. And how do we get them to prepare their mindset, to change their mindset, to prepare themselves mentally to take on this particular task?
Well, I think one thing is that if you're thinking about a space that isn't predominantly what we do, then this might really be an opportunity for you, and it really might be what our community needs. So I would ask people to submit that, to consider that this is actually a void that you could fulfill and could be really needed and necessary and helpful. The other piece is my ability to make it through this trajectory, this pathway, was really because I was surrounded by good people. And I was attached to like a lot of Black psychologists in training that really enveloped me. We enveloped each other, and we rode for each other. And without them, there would be no Dr. Akilah. So I really say that you got to find your tribe of people who love, support, and who you can lean on to make it through the really difficult times.
I hope you're listening. I hope you're ready. I hope you got that advice. You have to make sure you have your own tribe. This is almost like a war of becoming you, and you're gonna have to have an army behind you and in front of you and beside you. And I guess that accounts for that humanistic part of you that said, I need help. I can't do this by myself. It's gonna take a community. Last question before we get into our Think Fire Shoot. What does it mean in terms of taking charge? Taking charge of your own learning helps to shape your destiny. What would you say destiny is?
That's a really good question. Destiny. Um, I think destiny is really just where you're supposed to be, you know,
Hmm.
whatever you're supposed to be on this earth doing or have done. Um, that's what it is. And so I encourage people to um, pursue the hard work or the things that are inside of them that can get them to their ultimate destiny. It's the thing that kind of tends to happen, you know, probably, I wouldn't say no matter what, but despite some of the maybe some terrible things that might happen to you, like it's the thing that prevails no matter what. And so I would say keep pushing towards that thing.
All right. Here's a quote that I want to get your perspective on. It says, so many people spend their time looking in the rear view mirror instead of the front windshield on a highway of living. So many people spent their time looking in the rear view mirror instead of the front windshield on the highway of living. Your thoughts?
I've been in a situation where I was so concerned about like someone in the back of me, like, you
Yes.
know, I had hit in the back of me before. So I used to like focus so much of the rearview mirror because I was so afraid of what was going to happen behind me. I was like looking about what was going on that I've almost rear-ended people in the front of me. I almost caused an issue for what was coming ahead of me. And so I
Yes.
always think about that experience. And for me, what it means is that what's happened behind you, it's happened. It's already there. You know what I mean? And so by focusing so much on what's happened behind you, you could really kind of run in and really kind of mess up what's happening ahead of you. So
Right.
I wouldn't, and honestly, that mirror in the back is so small.
Oh, you got it. I love it. Oh
um,
gosh.
that you're getting a very small skewed picture, and
Yes.
when you look at the front of you, it's so wide and
God
there's
of
so much
mercy.
ahead of you. So I would encourage people not to let whatever that small picture behind you, not to let that really mess up the view and the opportunities that you have ahead of you.
I love it. You know, of all the guests that I've had, and you're the first one that got what I was asking.
Oh,
You are the first one. The rear view mirror is so small. And the further ahead you go, the smaller the objects in you in the back becomes. It's like being injured or having a hurt. Happened yesterday. If you just keep living, it will be next year. I mean, last year. And if you just keep on living, it was like, oh, 20 years ago. But the view from the front is so much larger. Your future is bigger than the past that you're coming from. Love it. You
absolutely.
nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. All right. It's time for Think, Fire, Shoot.
Okay.
Now, Think, Fire, Shoot basically is where I ask these series of questions I may give you, and you got exactly 1 minute, and you only
Okay.
have 15 seconds to answer these. You get 4 of these, okay? And you're a smart individual. I know you're going to nail this. I'm counting on you, okay? You got 1 minute and 15 seconds per question, okay? It's called Think, Fire, Shoot. So before we do Think, Fire, Shoot, what I always do is that's where I read your bio to get
Okay.
people to understand who is doing Think, Fire, Shoot. And then after I'm finished, then I'm going to let you say your name and what you do. And then after, you're going to go into Think, Fire, Shoot. And after we finish that, we're going to let you plug what you do, your conference, whatever. Doesn't matter. Anything that you have for the people, go ahead and let them know. All right? All right. So let me start. Make sure I get everything here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sitting here and talking to a great friend of mine, a smart individual, strong Black individual, Black woman, entrepreneur, speaker, psychologist, a medical professional, wellness specialist. She's simply amazing. Okay. And who is that individual? Is Dr. Akilah. She is a licensed psychologist in Los Angeles, where she works at an academic psychiatric hospital and in a private practice at the Black Girl Doctor. She's also the co-founder of SBW Wellness Collaborative. a research-based wellness organization that focuses on fostering holistic wellness and redefining strength among Black women. Dr. Akilah specializes in child psychology, parenting, and wellness among professionals. She believes psychology has the power to transform lives. To that end, she is passionate about empowering people to live the life of their dreams by encouraging mental health and wellness. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Akilah Reynolds, and it's time for Think, Fire, and Shoot. All right. Are you ready?
Shoot.
I like it. Just go ahead and shoot. Go ahead. All right. Dr. Akilah, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell them who you are, and then we're going to get ready for Think, Fire, and Shoot. Go ahead. My name is so-and-so and so. Ready? Go.
My name is Dr. Akilah, and I am a California girl. People also call me Dr. Sunshine. That's shout out to Lawanda who gave me that name.
All right. All right. We're ready to go. All right. So 15 seconds on the clock. And the first question is simply this. So people say, go.
People say that they can't afford therapy, but then when I talk with them, they often tell me about other things that they use their money for, like drinking, going out, often shopping, and then I find that they may have some extra income for therapy, which is in the long term is more helpful. Did I make it? This is hard.
Whoa, you went over.
No! I tried to. How much?
Right. Over? You did great. You did great. You did great. Let's go. Next question. Next question. Question number 2. Family and culture. ... Go.
Family and culture are really important to who you are as a person. They really impact how you see life and how you live it.
Oh, that was good. Very good. 13.2 seconds. Not bad. Very good. Hey, you're below the 15. All right. Question number 3. Background, past, present, future. Background, past, present, future. Go.
Are all things that we talk about in therapy and in psychology, and they're relevant to your life.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It's relevant and it's meaningful and it's right within our reach and it's part of the answer. Wonderful. Love the way you put it. Question number 4. So this is the long one. Okay. And it's called this. It says determination, will, guts, obstacles. So what? Go.
They can be a part of your purpose and a part of your destiny, moving your life forward. So don't let them hold you back.
Ladies and gentlemen, that ends our session on Think, Fire, and Shoot. We are here with Dr. Akilah. Dr. Akilah, where can they find you? Please tell us, where can they find you? What do you have to offer them? Any service that you have that they just got to get it? Go ahead. This is your time. Go.
Absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram. That's at Dr. Akilah, Dr.Akilah. You can also go to drakilah.com. By the time this podcast comes out, it should be up and running at www.drakilah.com. If you're looking for virtual therapy, I'm a part of a group practice. It's called The Black Girl Doctor. You can go to theblackgirldoctor.com or find us on Instagram at The Black Girl Doctor. And then if you're interested in this wellness retreat that I'm putting on, it is called Mask Off. And the best way to get tickets to that is really just to go to our Instagram at sbw.selfcare. And if you go there, you'll find the link to our Eventbrite, or you can email, you can also contact me directly or email us at sbw.selfcare2 at the number 2 at gmail.com. And then we'll send you a link to the website.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a slice. I don't know what kind of pizza you eat, but for me, it's got to be pepperoni and pineapple. I love it. The mixture is amazing. But we have been conversating with, just sharing information with Dr. Akilah, a specialist, a licensed psychologist from Los Angeles, and she's simply amazing. I want to tell her thank you so much for just joining us on this episode of ILIR Podcast. I'm listening and I'm ready. Thank you so much, Dr. Akilah, have yourself a wonderful day, and thanks for joining us. Okay?
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much. Take care. Until next time, keep listening, live ready, talk soon.